Right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube and ladies and gentlemen on Twitch, welcome to the end of the month subscriber Q&A. For those that have never witnessed this before, this is the time at the end of the month where I turn the chat room into subscriber mode and I take an hour of the stream to answer questions people might have. A warning in advance, I don't know what kind of questions are going to be asked. They can be about Legion, there might be spoilers in this video. If you don't want any spoilers, then let me just say thank you very much for watching so far and please turn off the video right now. As always, do you have to send me money in order to ask me questions? I mean, you're always welcome to send me money. That's, you know, it's always welcome, but no you don't. If you have any questions and I don't catch it during any of the regular streams and you're burning desire to get an answer, by all means send me a personal message on Facebook and I'll get back to you whenever I can. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the chat room, hi subscribers, welcome. Hope you all had a great month. Time flew by, man. So ladies and gentlemen, if there are questions that you might have and you want them answered right now, by all means, shoot! We have Armory with Paid Freedom. JLCS says, I know it's up to speculation, but what do you think will be the expansion after Legion? I believe will be related to Azora, and only after that we may go after the Legion. Yeah. It's very hard to predict the next expansion, even, you know, we haven't even seen Legion yet. But right now, the two that come to mind is one expansion with Azora and the other side of Azeroth. One expansion with us going into the Great Dark Beyond, where we go explore planets, whole new cultures, and all that good stuff. Excuse me. So those are two possibilities, but if Mr. Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor has showed us anything, is that Blizzard can do whatever they want. If they want to go with a time travel story again, or in the case of Mr. Pandaria, if they want to build up an expansion out of one character, Jen Stormstout from Warcraft 3, then they can. So the future is very, very hard to predict. But those would be the two things. Now you think that Azora is going to be coming before Legion? It's definitely possible. We'll see. What is my view on the Black Empire? I'm really intrigued on what they released with the Chronicles. The Black Empire is basically the empire described in the days before the Titans came down to Azeroth and they started shaping it. So what you're gonna see is Elemental Lords rule, or used to rule, and then the Old Gods enslave them. You're gonna see the Faceless Ones, you're gonna see the Akir, you're gonna see the Old Gods ruling the planet. And then, you know, Titans came down, kicked the crap out of the Old Gods and imprisoned them. The Black Empire is basically the time period and the kingdom described as the Old Gods ruled the planets. Do you think Kel'Thuzad will be popping up in Legion, and is he still loyal to Bolvar's Lich King? Again, future prediction is very hard. Will he show up? Maybe. Will he be loyal to Bolvar? Very hard to say. To me it seems like the Lich King has become somewhat of its own entity. In the past, it was Ner'zhul's spirits, then it became Arthas, and then it became Bolvar. It almost seems like those are the hosts. If you remember the symbiote from Spider-Man, like those are the hosts, but the Lich King itself became its own entity. That part is definitely something I could see Kel'Thuzad ally himself with. The Bolvar part, not so much. You know, Bolvar sacrificed himself to contain the powers of the Lich King, and I don't see Kel'Thuzad agreeing with that. Now that we know more about the Old Gods in the WoW Chronicles, do you think that Legion is stronger than the Old Gods? Power is very hard to say. Like, the Legion has the benefit that they transcend realities at this point, as well as we don't know if there are multiple copies of their characters, or if like I said, everybody, don't make yourself huge and stand in front of the camera. We don't know if they have multiple copies, if they're truly infinite or only limited. We don't know that for sure. What I can say is that the Old Gods they got their asses kicked by the Titans. But say that the Old Gods could work together, I would say that they're more powerful. Now, like I said, power levels, very hard to describe. Would I say that Sargeras and the Legion are more powerful? Maybe. But then again, just consider the fact that the Old Gods and the Legion are working together in Legion. Now that's a more terrible thought. So yeah. See you, Artemis. Do you know the lore behind Pandoran, mages, and shaman? Who taught them? I don't. Shall we look it up? Pandoran Mage Wowpedia. Do we have any information on that? Let's see. I don't have it from the top of my head, matey. I'm trying to consider like why and how and what. From the top of my mind, I would say that a Pandaran mage can be explained by the waters from the Veil of Eternal Blossoms. It's very similar to the Well of Eternity. And a shaman, we've seen the elements on Pandaria pretty prominent. It's not hard to imagine that they got in touch with those, but I don't know for certain. If you can, send me a PM on Facebook, and I'll get back to you with greater details. What's the lore behind Brink? Can you send me a picture? What kind of picture are you sending me, Jacob? The frick is that? That's a Wolverine character. That looks awesome, man. What is this? What is this? Is that Brink Spannercrank? It's a gnome. Oh, that's the dude from the Dark Riders comic. I know him. What's his story? He's SI7. And he was sent to retrieve several magical artifacts. The Dark Riders from the Deadwind Paws had gathered over the years. And he recruited Rebel Cross to aid him in his quest. Along with Morrigan, Corlane, and a group of Night Watch led by the commander Elfia Ebonlockie. The party pursued the Black Riders to the Cursed Tower of Karazhan and were able to escape its dangers with their missing artifacts. I talked about his story in greater detail in, I believe, one of the Q&As where I talk about the Dark Riders. Yeah, I remember him. What is my favorite launch event in WoW? I actually didn't catch that many launch events, matey. I didn't catch that many of them. The one that I enjoyed the most was Mr. Pandaria, because you got an awesome tabard out of it. That's the one I enjoyed most. Do you think the Legion story will take a turn like Warlords did? Like, first half is all about the Legion, but then the Old Gods suck power from the portal, effectively destroying it, and the Legion threats. But now the Old Gods see released in all of their buggy tentacle glory. Could be pretty damn cool, man. I'd be down for that. Do you think an expansion, and will it happen? Like I said, I can't predict the future. I wish I could, matey, but it's impossible. Do you think the expansion about the trolls and their empire would be a good one? Yeah. Do you think Bane Bloodhoof will get together with the High Mountain Chieftain? They seem to hang together in the leveling zone. Yeah, they seem to be building up some relations, one could say. So maybe. What is the lore behind the troll Loas? I know there was some writing about them in a sneak peek in the new Warcraft Chronicles. The troll Loas are sometimes also described as the ancients or the wild gods. They're pretty much the demigods of the world of Azeroth. Trolls allied themselves with the Loa, they worship them, and in return they gain powers from them. And what's the lore behind them? Sometimes they play tricks on people. They put shadow hunters through trials in order to make them a shadow hunter, in order to give them access to the Loa and offer their powers. And they're demigods. What is your favorite candy or sweets? I like a lot of sweets, matey. I like a lot of them. But my favorites, that's pretty damn difficult to pick. Pretty damn hard to pick if you like everything. I'm a sweet tooth, man. I like cake, I like chocolate, I like all the things. Are you a Razer worshipper, like a guy who has to have Razer equipment? No, if you I have a simple Logitech mouse. I can't really show it without dragging everything out. But I have a simple Logitech mouse and a simple Logitech keyboard, so nope. No Razer gear here. I tried it once. I tried it, but for me, I want to grab my mouse, and the Razer has like side buttons to it. So it feels weird for me to not be able to grab it like, yeah, this is my mouse now. I know a decent amount of the Worgen lore, but I'd love to hear your outline on it. Worgen lore is honestly my favorite of all the races. I feel the Scythe of Elune is very underrated and Legion is an artifact. And what exactly do you want to know, Nikachu? Don't you miss the creepy things from WoW nowadays? I mean, I'm currently looking at a night elf with flamey wings dancing on my table. One could say that that's pretty damn creepy. And now I see a giant tree burning in front of me. One could say that that's pretty damn creepy. You know. There are a couple of creepy things there. What is the origin story of the orcs? Evolution-wise, like trolls and night elf. Uncertain, Akbala. And funny enough, I'm actually doing a Q&A coming Monday, where I'm gonna go over the evolutions of the races that we play as, like the origin story and how they evolved. Orcs is unknown, although some suggest that they come from ogres. Ogres in turn come from the Grum, and the Grum in turn come from the Ogron? I think they're called, something like that. Like the massive beings that we saw on Warlords of Draenor, that massive skeletal in Frostfire Ridge, that would be then the origin, and those were created by the Titans. But it's not sure. Pandora mages can also be related to before the War of the Ancients, since they were around at that time too. Yeah, they had connections to the Kelderai. Do you ever go and watch your my old what now? Do you ever go and watch your old videos and see how good and great you've become? It's amazing to see how you've changed. Your voice is more confident, your script is clean, your editing is good, and the quality overall is neat. Aw, thank you very much, Akrosmao. I'm very happy to say that. And yeah, I do see a quality improvement line, so to say. I'm very happy about that. But do I actually go back and observe myself? Not so much. In the recent times, we've been doing the Sundray movie stream. And during those moments, I could really tell, like, yeah, I picked up that little trick and I picked up that little trick, and of course you become more confident in your abilities. But even to this day, whenever I do a voiceover and I'm not entirely sure, like just the other day I was working on the story of Xavier's Part 2 and I wasn't sure if my voice felt right, I wasn't sure if it was right. So what I do in that case is that I'll send it to a friend, in this case Fury. Fury has done a lot of checking work. I think if she takes all the voice files that I've made for her, before I start talking, I usually do a little song, or I do a little high note and a low note. I think she could make like a 5-minute video out of that. But she really helps me out with that. Abikok, thank you very much for the 18 months in a row, buddy. The lore of Jesse Cox. Once upon a time, the great space butterfly blessed us with a being. This being was known as Jesse Cox, who covered the Cataclysm Beta. A small Dutch boy watched those videos and he was like, hey, that looks like fun. So he decided to do the Mr. Pandaria beta. And from that moment on, he decided to do lore videos. So the great space butterfly, in all his mighty, magnificent wisdom, guided this young one. Not to mention that I learned how to advertise like Shameless Horse from Jesse Cox. What is more fun for you to do, stream or video creating? Entirely depends on the part of the video creation and entirely depends on the stream itself. Some days I just don't feel like streaming. And then funny enough, I actually get carried by the chat room because they are very kind to me, or they, you know, a lot of interaction. I actually get energy from that. But sometimes you know, a couple of trolls come in, they say a couple of things that hit you just in the wrong spot and you don't feel like streaming. And the same goes with video making. Like sometimes I'm really motivated and I'll pump out a script in the voiceover and cut it up in a single day. And at other times I'm like, ugh, I don't wanna, and it takes me like 3 days to type out a script. Now the best part for me for video making is still the bringing it to life part. The part where you've got the voiceover cut up, you've done the script, you've done the voiceover, it's cut up, the timeline is ready for you. And then you start adding the pictures, and that whole bring it to life bit, I love that about video making. It takes the longest time, but it's also the most rewarding, because you can literally see the story if you project it in your head. You can try to get it on screen. Now sometimes I feel limited by my movie making skills. You have an example of that. I was working on the story of Anoyatron, and for that story I wanted the card to fly across the screen, and I didn't exactly know how to do it, so I had to settle for something else. But overall, I'm still pretty damn proud of how it turned out. Still pretty damn proud. Is there was a world of Azeroth, what race faction would be the winner? If there was a world war on Azeroth, so... Damn! If there was a world war on Azeroth, what faction would be the winner? I would give it, for the Horde side, I would give it to the Forsaken. Because the Forsaken get stronger the more enemies they kill. On the Alliance side, I give it to the Dwarves right now. Because the Dwarves have reunited the 3 different clans. Which gives them military dominance, air dominance and magic dominance. But that's purely my feeling on it. What is stroopwafel? Stroopwafel is a Dutch cookie with like syrups in between. It's quite delicious. And Avikak, I hope I already thanked you for the 18 months, buddy. Do you think Anduin, or King Anduin, of course, will take care of the Admiral and Gen Greymane because of the attack of Sylvanas? I hope so, if the word ever reaches him. Based on either lore or coolness, if you had to roll a new class, which would you choose? Lore or coolness? Lore I would do Death Knight, to be honest. Like, the upcoming Frost Death Knight artifact questline is just beautiful. Why not go to the Horde Garrison? Because I was here. What is my favorite Orc clan? Ooh, I mean, Dragonmaw comes to mind. Dragonmaw, even though they did vile things, they still rode around on dragons, though. But I think if I had to pick, I would say Frostwolf. As cliche as it is, I would say Frostwolf. Why? Well, that's where Thrall comes from, and Durthan and Draka. That's pretty much the heroes of the Orcs, right? What's the story behind mana in Warcraft? Interestingly enough, mana is actually not so portrayed in the lore as it is in-game, where you have the mana bar. What you'll see when mages cast spells is that they'll feel fatigue and they need to eat or rest or sleep to regenerate that. Mana has never, as far as I recall, been described in the ways we know it, as in the mana bar or I need to regain my mana. It's always I need to regain my strength or I need to regain my mind or something like that. And Imaginary Shy just subscribed. AJ9 Lives with the 5 months in a row. To both of you, thank you very much. I mean, an outline of the Druids of the Scythe, their history and how they're formed. Top of my head, I would say, as the Druids learn more about their ways, especially their animal form, they discovered a way to embrace the powers of the pack, which was highly empowered by the demigod Goldrin. And this ancient primal wolf spirit was very hard to contain. It was powerful, and they used it in the war against the Satyrs. But it was incredibly hard to contain, so what they came up with was trying to use Elun's power to control themselves. So they combined the Staff of Elun with a Fang of the demigod Goldrin. And by doing so, by combining that, they tried to gain control over their animalistic powers. But instead what happened was that the Worgen were formed with Alpha Prime leading them. They were now able to spread the Worgen curse by biting people. And in the end, they had to use the Scythe of Elun to banish the Worgen to the Emerald Dream. Get that on a shirt, right? I will buy that shirt in an instant. Can you tell the legend of the Crendor? Once upon a time, the world of Warcraft needed machinima, needed entertainment, needed videos, and one man rose to the challenge. This man was the Crendor, now known as an ancient oak, an ancient tree of YouTube wisdom. He has weathered the storms, the changes over the past, and he still holds strong. Now, advertising the non-content. Crendog and Cranket and Toast a Woman. This team of heroes will fight against the crime in the world. Something like that. Have you set yourself a goal for 2016 with Twitch and or YouTube? Nope. Not at all. I have surpassed all my dreams and goals that I had. Like, more is always better, right? I would love if we could reach the 500,000 subscribers or the 1,000,000 subscribers. And I would love if we could reach the 500 subscribers on Twitch so we can get those new emotes. But in the end, as long as people enjoy the content and as long as I can pay my bills, the numbers are not that meaningful to me. You know, as long as I can function and as long as I can keep on doing what I love doing, it's all good. So, a goal for 2016, not so much a certain amount. Just, you know, keep on trucking and hoping that people keep enjoying the content. What does Sylvanas have to do with Helia? In some quest you can see Sylvanas arguing with her. We don't know yet. We don't know what Sylvanas and Helia are doing. Or what they're trying to do. I would love to tell you, but all we know is that we see Sylvanas in... I'm gonna go Helheim. I think it's called Helheim. Where she's converging with Helia. And they're making some sort of plans or dreams. My speculation would be to either bring back a hero, maybe a Varian. Or to find some way of prolonging the Forsaken eventual extinction. Because the Forsaken can't reproduce. Sylvanas is trying to find a way to secure a future. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what they're gonna come up with. Can't wait to find out. Why is there so much undead stuff happening in Duskwood, even when it's so far away from Lordaeron? There were actually 2 different storylines explaining the corruption within Duskwood. One of them is the Scythe of Elune, as I just talked about, the whole Worgen storyline. At some point the Scythe of Elune came to Duskwood. There was something with jitters, and there was something with a priestess, and corruption. While another storyline, and I believe that is the one that they're going with right now, is that after the corrupted guardian Medivh was slain in Karazhan. The story behind that is Medivh was infiltrated by the spirit of Sargeras, and when Lothar and Khadgar and Garona they found out about this, they confronted him and they killed him. From that, the evils from Sargeras, they spread out of the tower and they infected the land of Duskwood. But I think there are 2 stories right there going on right now. Lord Anakar and the Hakari. I know troll lore isn't your strongest suit, but... well... It helps that I just talked about this during the story of Vol'jin. Once upon a time, the... Gurubashi trolls... Oh god, I hope so. The jungle trolls, anyways, they started to worship a demigod, an ancient, a wild god known as Akar the Soul Flayer. And at first the Zandalaren were very happy about this. They, you know, they saw that the Gurubashi tribe was expanded, the empire was dominating land, and they're very happy about it. But then they found out that, you know, Hakar wasn't the best being to ally yourself with. It was pretty damn evil. So, they sent some of the priestess to take care of that. To take care of Hakar and drive those out of the... what do you call the place? Stranglethorn Vale. That place in Stranglethorn Vale, not in the Burning Steps. In Stranglethorn Vale. That's Nethergard Keep. Zul'Gurub, there we go. Yeah, Zul'Gurub, Gurubashi. So they kicked them out. To which the Hakari and the Atamal priests, they moved to the Swamp of Sorrows. Swamp of Sorrows. There we go. And they built the Temple of Atal Hakar. And they tried to resummon Hakar back into the world. To this, Ysera found out. Ysera came in like... And she crashed their temple. Sinking it, which is why we now call it the Sunken Temple. They left some green dragons behind to guard the place, but there was no need, because they couldn't really summon Hakar back here. They could only summon Hakar within Zul'Gurub. So, eventually, they went into Zul'Gurub, and they enslaved the priest there, they fed Hakar, and they tried to summon him again. And this is, I believe during Classic, that we actually teamed up with the Zandalari, and we went into Zul'Gurub, we kicked the crap out of all those priests, and we stopped Hakar from entering the world again. Until the Cataclysm revamp, where the Zandalari now... came back, and this time they were willing to work with Hakar and all that. So they tried to summon Hakar again, to which we went in, killed everyone, and we liberated Hakar from Jindo, and so far that's the storyline. Krendor isn't a tree, he's a sloth. If I was brave enough, I would actually show you the sloth pants that I'm wearing today. Coincidentally, yep. How awesome do you think it would be if Blizzard made more factions? Old God Servants, Faceless Ones, Mantid Infant Dragonflight, and Titan Servants, Earthen Stone Trogs, and Giants. Like more factions I wouldn't mind, but playable factions is a whole different ballgame. I would personally love to see customization for your races, like give people the option to join, I don't know, Sand Trolls or Frostrals or whatever, but they're still part of the Darkspear tribe, or let people go Dark Iron Dwarf, or I think that's actually part of the scheme now. Just a little bit more customization in that regard, but more factions are always welcome. I mean, I got my rep bonus as a human. Bring it on, man. I'll farm the rep. Just a tinfoil theory. Sylvanas, after died at Ice Crown, was resurrected by Lich King Valkyr, and so he is secretly under his control. Maybe. Since you can predict the future, how will be the end boss of Legion? My prediction is either a fully powered Kil'jaeden or the Avatar Sargeras. Now, Sargeras himself could also be a thing, because everybody's getting these mighty artifact weapons. But I just hope not, because Sargeras has been described as such an uber boss that taking him down in a raid group would feel... yeah, you know, he's such a pillar in the Lord, would feel a little bit disappointing. What is the Shadowlands? Shadowlands is something that more information needs to be revealed, especially in the Warcraft Chronicles, which is set to release in like 3 weeks, I believe. Some mentioned in the comments when I made the video that in the DK starting area you actually go into the Shadowlands to get your mount. So it seems to be connected to undead in some description, but more information is going to be revealed. If Blizzard would announce that Medan is not that OP that he is now, do you think Blizzard will implement him in the game? Hard to say, Shavoko, because at the same time they also still need to explain how Khadgar got his hands on Aetish and why he walks, talks, flies like the Guardian. It seems like Medan somewhere has passed on his title and power as Guardian to Khadgar. Rather than seeing Medan be implemented, I would love it if Blizzard could come up with like a comic or a short story or something that explains how Khadgar went from who he was to the guy that we saw in Warlords of Draenor. Because there's definitely changes there. Imagine the adventures of Khadgar and Chromie, where they go through time and they figure out that Khadgar has to become the Guardian in order to, you know, prevent the Iron Horde, in order to save the world. They fly out to wherever Medan was training. They explain the situation, and Medan's like, yeah, sure, cool, I'll give you my power. And Khadgar shows up at the start of Warlords of Draenor, and he is the Guardian now. Could be very easy to explain, and I would love to see a comic, especially because Chromie is in it. But time will tell. Is there any connection between Hakari the Soul Flayer and Hakari the Howmaster? None, except Blizzard being unoriginal about names. Is the Blue Dragonflight with the Alliance and the Red Dragonflight with the Horde? No. No, the only connection that the Alliance has with the Blue Dragonflight is through the Blue Dragon Kalagos, but that's only because Jaina allied himself with the Alliance through the Kirin Tor and Dalaran, and Kalik offered his powers to the Kirin Tor. Now in Legion we see that Jaina has stepped down, she is gone, we don't know where she is, we don't know what happened. We see Kalik as part of the Council of Six, and it seems like they're now much more neutral. Well, you know, we'll see. And howdy, Chef and Tois. Welcome, welcome. On the Warcraft Chronicles chart of magic and stuff in the WoW universe, there's something called Void Lords, which is behind the Old Gods. What are the Void Lords? Stronger than Old Gods? Whoa, Titans Run. Not necessarily if it's power, which dictates what spot they got in that chart. But I believe the Void Lords are like the Naru, right? Oh no, it's Dementius, the Old Devouring. Void Lords, or Void Lords, are the second most powerful type of Void creature yet encountered, below the Void Gods. Appearing as gigantic, armor-plated Void Walkers, these fleshed Void creatures employ shadow magic and constantly feed off of magic, souls and life. They do as souls themselves. One of the most powerful Void Lords is Dementius, the All Devouring, who conquered Karesh, the homeworld of the Ethereals. Void Lords are rather difficult to stumble across, but it takes very little persuading to convince one to divulge the name of a rival lord. So there you go. It's those creatures. It's the ones that attack the planet of the Ethereals and actually turn the Ethereals into the mummy creatures as we know them today. With all these Titan relics and all the powerful beings with whom we're allying, Sargeras could be a thing, but I'm with you on that. Yeah, right? Why is the Emerald Nightmare listed on the magic chart for the WoW Chronicle? Believe they did the Emerald Dream though, Akbala. I believe the Emerald Dream is described as a location, whereas the Emerald Nightmare could be connected to the Old Gods, because basically it was N'Zoth with his minion Xavius that created the whole Emerald Nightmare situation. How many screens do you use for things? How many do you think I should get? I use 2 screens, and sometimes I wish I had my third one connected. But I think 2 screens, once you go 2, you'll never want to go back. Like, just imagine WoW in front of you, and then on the left you got like your YouTube or your streams or whatever. I love when I switch to double screens. I love it, I wouldn't go back for the world. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, howdy howdy. In your opinion, who do you think would lead the Forsaken in the place of Lady Sylvanas? Hard to say. If they'll ever come up with a replacement. One that comes to mind, if she can get over her hatred, is Lillian Voss. If you remember Lillian Voss, she was part of the Cataclysm revamp, a former Scarlet Crusade member, turned Forsaken. Turned against her father who tried to kill her, turned against everything that had to do with Scarlet Crusade and the Undead, the Necromants and Scholomans. Now she hates the Undead, right? So leading them would be quite a step right now. But at the same time, character development is a thing, and time can do a lot. Like, just imagine being stuck in the form of an Undead, and there's no way out for you besides killing yourself, and that doesn't seem appeasing. Leading a faction, getting members behind you to stay alive, could be a thing. Next to that, Coltera Deathweaver was always a suggestion of mine, but I believe Coltera is gonna play a part in the whole follower decay system, so that seems off the table. Besides that, not that many well-known undead. Yeah, maybe Nathanos Blightcaller, but Nathanos seems to be more of a sidekick to Sylvanas. No offense to those that really like Nathanos, but that just seems to be his role in Legion. How did Lord Ravencrest die? Lord Ravencrest died by the hands of an assassin sent by Varofen. Like, he was leading the troops and then an assassin killed him. The assassin was taken out by Broxigar, but not before Ravencrest lost his life. Any news about dwarf lore in Legion? Magni returning. There was the Datamine bit where you can see that Magni came out of the crystal. And he's gonna help with reforging the Ashbringer, I believe. But so far it's Datamined. I haven't seen it on the Alpha myself yet. If you could rewrite any part of the Warcraft lore that you didn't enjoy or find satisfying, what would that be? The ending of Warlords of Draenor. Not so much the ending. I would just like to see the missing pages in between. I would like to see the story explaining Gromash captured by the Legion and Gromash switching sides. It just seems to be so out of the blue, and I think it comes down to a lot of content not making it in with Warlords of Draenor. So I would love to see those missing pages, and if not that, then I would like to see the ending of the Cataclysm rewritten. At the end of the Cataclysm, the aspects proclaim that their destiny is fulfilled and that their powers are expanded. But it doesn't make a lot of sense. Mainly because at that time, there are still freaking old gods around the Dragonblight Temple. There are old gods in the world. There are still things that they need to safeguard it from. And next to that, apparently their destiny, the use of their powers, was to stop Deathwing from causing the Hour of Twilight. The moment where the old gods break out of their prison and rule the world. The reason why Deathwing was used in the capacity that we saw during the Cataclysm was because he was given these powers by the Titans. If they never gave him these powers, he would never be the minion that we saw during the Cataclysm, and the aspects would never have their destiny. Now you could say that Deathwing could still have been used by the old gods, which is all true, but not in the way that it was used during the Cataclysm. So basically by giving them their powers, their destiny was created, and it makes balls all sense. So that would be my changes. If you take a look at the picture with the Shadowlands, you can see one of those resurrection angels. So perhaps when we die, that is where our souls is until we return to our bodies. Maybe. Although I would say that the whole, you know, souls in the shadowy realms that we see is more of a gameplay mechanic than it's actually a lore mechanic. Because in the lore, if you kill something off and it's just like, you know, they're waiting at the spirit angel to be resurrected, it seems a bit off. Not to mention that they've used many different afterlives. Like if you check out Sylvanas' short story, you can tell that she's going to hell. And that Arthas is also there. If you look at Legion, you can see that Helheim and Halls of Valor are a thing. There was the, I believe, Paladin or Soldier in Icecrown that we helped go up to heaven with the Naru. So Afterlife has already been used. And yeah, it seems a bit iffy. But who knows? Time will tell. If the undead on Outland are Fel controlled, and the new chart of magic from the Chronicle states that Fel magic is connected to the Burning Crusade, are the Burning Crusade still in control of the undead on Outland? What undead are we talking about though? Like what undead would you say are still under Fel magic? Because you have to keep in mind that Outland as we see it today is not what the current time period should reflect. Outland is still stuck in the Burning Crusade days, which is like, I don't know, 6 years old now. So, you know, something happened to the planet, we came in, we kicked the crap out of the Legion, we kicked the crap out of everything that was a threat there, and there shouldn't be that many there. Now you say undead are Fel controlled. Are the Burning Crusade still in control of the undead on Outland? I'm not sure what undead you're talking about, matey. My idea about Varian is that Greymane betrayed him and blamed Sylvanas for it, and now Sylvanas is trying to help Varian. Could be a thing, although if you listen to Sylvanas' sound files, it seems very much like they're fighting a dire battle and people all around her are biting the dust and she's desperately trying to hold the lines, she's desperately trying to fight back against the Legion, but that's only personal interpretation of that. Do you think Raffion will play a bigger role in Legion than he has done in Warlords? Because he is the one that warns us in Mr. Pandaria. I can say with certainty that he will play a bigger role. Because during Wars of Draenor we did not see him. He was described in the Taylor Journal. And he flew away from Khadgar's Tower. That was about it. Whereas in Legion he will show up in High Mountain. Where you join him into the vault of Neltharion, where he collects uncorrupted dragon eggs and keeps them safe. And he joins you into Neltharion's lair. Doesn't really do much there, but he at least joins you. So far he already plays a bigger part than what he did during Warlords. Who would you fight for? Old gods, the ones that brought freedom but chaos too? Or the titans, who created puppets and want to destroy everything that is not perfect? From a player's perspective, I would definitely say titans. I know that you can unleash a whole thesis. Is that the word on it? Thesis? You can unleash a whole article as to why the Titans are actually the bad guys, that Order's not the way to go. But if I had the choice between serving an ancient power, Chaos Incarnate, whose whispers will drive me insane, who wants nothing but to feed on chaos and have the world in turmoil, compared to those that want to make the world beautiful and give me a place to live on, my choice is easy, mate. I'll fight for the Titans. In Legion, why are the Council of Six just standing in the Violet Citadel when Tides of Darkness and Day of the Dragon they got cloaks, so it was impossible to see who they were? As Gerard says, times change! They're there. Get used to it. No, but I'm guessing because Blizzard wanted to show the changes that were made to the Council, and that things have changed in Dalaran compared to Mr. Pandaria. And, you know, it's in the middle of a Burning Legion invasion. They can't be fooling around with trickery and hiding their image. They need to fight. They need to recruit heroes. They need us help with artifacts and everything that they can do. So the time to hide in the shadows is over. Not to mention that most members were already known by people, so yeah. It was an anxious moment in the novel where Broxigar saw the assassin but just couldn't get to him in time. Yup. Enable, do you think people that obtained legendary items should be able to transmog them? Also, any panties for me today? Oh, panty stealing panda. I got a drawer full of them. But you have to steal them though, I'm not giving it to them. Should they be able to transmog the items? I'm guessing that you mean, should you be able to transmog regular items into legendary ones? Like, ask me before Legion and I would have said no. Because it would devalue the value of legendaries, right? You see everybody running around with the Blades of Asenov. You see everybody running around with the Ashbringer. You see everybody running around with legendary weapons, and it's not that legendary anymore if everybody has them. But like I said, have asked that before Legion, that would be my answer. But now with Legion, everybody's getting legendaries. Like, everybody's getting these massive artifact weapons. Everybody's getting an Ashbringer. Everybody's getting this, so that philosophy doesn't hold up anymore. So right now I would say sure, unleash the gates, man. Let everybody run around with the weapons that they like. As long as it falls in the category of the basic rules of transmog. Like, you can't make it look like a, I don't know, a sword into... Well, even that I don't really see a reason. A sword into a staff, like a sword into a bow, I suppose. Like melee into range, that would be a problem. But the rest, in my opinion, go nuts, man. I don't really see a reason not to. Who do you think is the biggest badass in Warcraft? Not named Thrall. The biggest badass? Broxigar, man. Come on, Broxigar was the only mortal effort to strike Sargeras. Even though it was like a miniature cut, it was still pretty damn badass to stand up against someone like Sargeras, so I would give it to Broxigar. I think the Destiny was just to stop the Old Gods, period, and Deathwing haven't gotten involved. Yeah, but it didn't stop the Old Gods, though. That's the problem. There's still N'Zoth and an unnamed Old God. Not to mention that none of the Old Gods are actually stopped. The only one that's gone is Yashiraj. All the other ones are just pushed down back into the prisons and could still rise one day. I know it's way too soon to guess, but what do you think the next expansion of the Legion would be? Another Horde versus Lion War, or possibly Old God expansion? I actually talked about this at the start. I would say either the other side of Azeroth, with Azora, the Naga, N'Zoth, and whatever else is still hiding on the other side of the planet. Or go into space and visit all kinds of different planets, all kinds of new races, new architects, all that good stuff. Those would be two possibilities. But as we saw with Mr. Pandaria, they can build up an expansion out of one single character, in this case Jyn Stormstout. As we've seen with Warlords of Draenor, they can just go alternate time period and build up from there. Many possibilities. What is your biggest fear with the Legion expansion? The first answer that comes to mind is that it would fail, but you know, I don't think that would be a problem. For me, well, I mean, failing is of course a problem in the sense of that people wouldn't enjoy the game anymore and that they walk away. Like, I want World of Warcraft to be, you know, exciting for people and fun for people to play and all that good stuff, but if people don't enjoy it, then by all means they should leave. My biggest fear for Legion is the same thing that happened during Warlords of Draenor. A strong start and then just a drop in the lack of content. And again, people will be like, yeah, I got nothing to do, so see ya. I think that would be my biggest fear, but keep that in mind that when I say biggest fear, it's more like, yeah, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good, but it wouldn't also change my life much. Could you say that the Lich King is the elemental lord of decay, like Ragnaros is the elemental lord of fire, Neptulon of water? I'm not sure if I would, because when I think of decay, I think of undead, and Lich King was not the first one to dabble with undead. But I can see your thought process though, could be cool. I'm so hypnotized by this Magic Charge sneak peek for the Warcraft Chronicle, man, I can't wait. Can't wait for it to release, it's gonna be amazing. Will they reform the Black Dragonflight? Well, there's hope for the Black Dragonflight now. For an uncorrupted Black Dragonflight even. So there's hope. Can you join the garrison? I'm not gonna make any new invites. Zemint. Sorry, matey. Is Arcane the opposite of Fel Magic? Order versus Disorder. That's what we see in the chart. Yeah, now some people say that it doesn't make a lot of sense. Which, with more information, we can actually give, you know, a proper answer for that. But, yeah, that's what they're going with right now. But interesting fact, during the Greenfire questline, we actually discovered that the Titans, wielders of order, use the powers of the demons to enforce their laws. So, even though they are opposites of the scale, it doesn't mean that they can't intermingle, intertwine, and be used by both sides. Have you heard of Twitch Watches Pokemon stream? It's currently going. Is Twitch Watches Pokemon back again? Oh, cool. That was big like a year or two ago. Praise Helix Fossil and all that. Raw R's like a sexy Dutchman, and panties will come easy, mate. Rrrr. What is the latest about Cerulean and Illyria for Legion? Nothing new than the artifact question that we saw. Her sister is looking for her. We go to the planet and we find out that Illyria is not there. They mentioned that time this deep into the Twisted Nether moves differently than it does in the normal world. So, for all we know, she could have been tortured for like millennia. We don't know. Cerulean seems to be a little bit forgotten. Kind of forgot to search for Cerulean as well. He's not really mentioned, so yeah. Where's the Exo Scenarios now? Last time we heard about it was in the hands of Fura. Now, a lot of people were very disappointed that the Exo Scenarios did not become an artifact for the Warriors. I still have hope that we'll see Fura in the Emerald Nightmare raid, that she's gonna team up against Xavius the Nightmare Lord. But that's my hope. I haven't seen anything data mined, I haven't seen anything suggesting this, but it would be so freaking cool if that would be the reason for it. Do you think that the Old God souls are going into the void like the demon souls go into the Nether? Could be. But that's very hard to say. Do Old Gods have souls? Is that where they come from? Very hard to say. I'm hoping that the Warcraft Chronicles is going to give more information. Who is, from your opinion, the best leader in the WoW lore? The best leader in the WoW lore? Huh. All of them pretty suck. Like, all of them do. Velen. I mean, he tried to keep his people safe, but did it really work? Doomhammer tried to do honor, but instead he accepted defeat. Thrall left his people to Garrosh. Garrosh decided to use dishonorable tactics. Vol'jin kept his people in the sand. I don't know, matey. They all pretty much suck. They all pretty much suck. And Valane, thank you very much for subscribing, matey. Be welcome. Thank you, thank you. So if I had to pick who is the best leader... I don't know. I really don't know. They all suck. How do you think we'll end up getting rid of the artifacts at the end of Legion? If you could write the story cinematic, how would you do it? I actually wrote a little article, or at least wrote a little article, gave my opinion about this for Icy Veins. I think the easiest answer is hanging it up in your order hall, or giving it to the one that gave it to you. Like, give it back to someone like Thrall. Some mentioned that its powers is going to be absorbed by Sargeras. Some mentioned that we're just going to take it into the next expansion. Some mentioned that, I don't know, all kinds of things. But I think the easiest explanation... Is it great? No, not really, but it does make the most sense. If we were to kill the Old Gods, what sort of effect would it have on Azeroth? Hard to say. The only example that we have is the Old God Yashiraj, where the Titans, they struck him down, and in response he unleashed his final breath attack on the land of Pandaria, infecting it with the Sha. That could be a thing. But maybe each of them has their own final blast attack. Who knows? I recently finished Shadowmourne, and I found it's pretty strange that it's supposed to be such a mighty weapon, and you can't even use it anymore, so it just sits in your bag. Yeah, but that's, you know, for the time it was pretty damn powerful. That's just, you know, that's a thing that happens. Could be cool though if they updated legendaries to flow into the next expansion, but at the same time, it also adds something to the period in which you could get it. So yeah. How many minutes are we in? 10 minutes to go, everybody. South Seas expansion. Welcome to the other side of Azeroth, the mystic South Seas. Board your ships now, the new garrison and travel around. Cast anchor at new and explored islands. And before you find the South Sea pirates everywhere, fight Bekashar and Anaga and Legion. Discard your artifacts, which are some of the most powerful weapons your class can wield. And pick up new weapons like the Ice Poke McDoodler. Level cap raised to 120. Pre-order now, and get yourself a nice little Mountain Heroes of the Storm, a card back in Hearthstone, and maybe even a different skin in Overwatch. We are Blizzard. We dominate all markets. In the Mount Chronicle sample picture, we see that the Old Gods came from Shadows, a Void. But before them, there's the Void Lords. Does that mean that the Void Lords are stronger than the Old Gods? I would say no, but maybe. I don't think I can give a clear answer on that one just yet, matey. Let's wait until the Chronicles are actually released. Ysera's best leader. She's Bay. That's obvious. Obvious. So, who could you see the Elemental Lord for Decay, if not the Lich King? Gul'dan, who created the first Death Knights? Well, who's to say that it needs an Elemental Lord, though? But Spirit Angel. Spirit Angel could be a thing. Even though Spirit Angel nearly got into a relationship with Blue Dragon. Maybe. And Morkan, thank you very much for subscribing, matey. Be welcome. Santo3311 as well. Welcome, welcome. Lothar, all the way for best leader. Lothar was pretty damn cool. Tyrande had potential as a 10,000-year-old night elf, but yeah, hush Tyrande. Interestingly enough, though, I was rereading War of the Ancients, and Tyrande hushes a lot of people during that novel. Like, a lot of people! She's like, hush! Don't talk! It's kind of cool. I thought it was kind of interesting. Do you think Tyrion, the new Lich King, will lose it in his position of power and become an expansion for us? Tyrion? You mean Bolvar? Bolvar losing it? Maybe. But at the same time, you know, he's holding on pretty damn well. In my opinion, Horde side Vol'jin is the best leader. Lion side I have to give it to Varian. Huh. Some wonder if Sylvanas killed Varian, but what if Sylvanas killed Varian out of pure mercy instead of Varian being torn apart by some soldiers? What do you think? Maybe. Time will tell. What is mana inside the Warcraft universe? How does it work? Is it universal to everyone, or do you have to be taught to tap into it? I actually talked about this at the beginning. Mana in the lore is not so much described as is in-game. Mana is more in the sense of casters will feel weakened or fatigue and they need to sit down and eat and recover. It's not so much a mana bar, something to tap into. Now, magic itself, that is something that you need to learn to tap into. You need to learn how to wield the arcane and fire and water and all that. But mana, not so much. Don't you think it's pretty weird that the Old Gods and the Legion aren't allies when both are against the Titans and both want chaos? Yes and no. You could explain it by saying that the Legion didn't know about the Old Gods. We know from the War of the Ancients that the Old Gods were aware of Sargeras. They wanted him to come into their world so they could break out of their prisons. So they were aware of them. But it's very possible that Sargeras and the Legion did not know about the Old Gods. By the time that the Pantheon reached Azeroth and kicked the crap out of the Old Gods, Sargeras had already left them. So it's possible that he never even knew about them. In Legion, most interesting is that we're going to find out what's exactly going to go down when Old Gods and Legion team up. And I'm very excited to find out. No StarCraft portrait, no pre-ordering. What if they had the artifact weapon shatter in the final raid fight because you use all the artifact power to like push Sargeras through Port of Azeroth? It could be, but how then do you explain it that, you know, cinematic ends? What weapon are you going to wield? Is it like a copy? Is it an imprint or... I don't know. Howdy, Litzomi. You ready for today? You're gonna kick some butt. Karen Bloodhoof for best leader. Yeah, man. Keep your enemy close. Keep your eyes on your enemy. And don't forget to keep an eye on your enemy as she poisons the weapon of your enemy. Dumbass. And Zero Gears also subscribed. Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome. And Amephius with 8 months in a row. Thank you, thank you. I think I have a throat cold and I really can't because I just started working on the phones at my job. A throat cold? Really? Really now? That's quite the timing. Right, 5 minutes to go, everybody. Are there any more questions for me today? Knowing what we know now, what do you think about the Titans and their history or future? I still stand with my previous statement, speculation even, which is that the Titans foresaw everything that happened with Sargeras, and they put their plans in motion, their pawns on the board, in order to build up an army to fight back against them. I think we actually talked about this during Tides of Lore. That's still my speculation, but time will tell. I'm super happy that I stayed up till 3 AM to be part of my first subscriber Q&A, and I'm super appreciative of your videos. Without you, I would have never got deep in this lore until as I have now. Thanks so much, Noble. My pleasure, Nikachu. Go to bed, matey. It's 3 AM. Get some sleep. Do I play StarCraft? I still need to play the last expansion. But I played in the sense of getting the storyline. Online, I suck. I suck so much. Since Sylvanas has the Valkyr working for her raising the dead, won't the ones in Legion be pissed at her for it? Maybe. But maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't care. Or maybe Sylvanas is powerful enough to convince them to join her. Maybe she wants to, you know, make some deals with Helia. Grab the power of a Titan Keeper. Maybe. Time will tell. Ascandi, a great sword of the Brotherhood, is rumored to belong to Anduin Lothar, but how did Nefarian get it? Well, Lothar's weapon was shattered in front of Blackrock Mountain, where later on Nefarian would go in and take control of the remnants of the Dark Horde. It could be that they found the shattered pieces outside and then they reformed it. Holy shit, is that Aquaman in front of me? Cool. The first questline in the expansion after Legion could be about how we face a strong foe and they drain the power from artifact weapons, and so they're just hollow images of the former self. Could be a thing, yeah? Like, there are many solutions they could give to the whole artifact system problem, to be honest. But time will tell. I hope they thought about it. Even at BlizzCon they were like, yeah, we're not entirely sure yet what we're gonna do with that. And it's like, nah. Right, ladies and gentlemen, are there any more questions for me, or are we gonna call this Q&A to an end? I got like 3 minutes left. Do you think Draenor had its own spirit elemental like Azeroth had, but was consumed by the Titan in Azeroth? Spirit element? I think it still has a spirit element, to be honest, just not represented in an elemental lore, but I think it still has spirits, because there's life on the planet. Not sure where the whole consumed by the Titan bit came from. Do you think Tyrion, the new Lich King, will lose its power in its position? Tyrion is not the Lich King, mate. And I already answered this one. Will he lose his power position? Maybe. Who knows? What's your opinion as to why Raytheon aided in Garrus' escape? I was thinking he might have known about the impending Legion invasion. Yeah, they actually show a small line more to explain this. Basically, Raytheon says, oops, my bad. We planned on having him go back in time, form the Iron Horde, but not to invade Azeroth. They wanted him to go back in time, form the Iron Horde, and use those forces to fight back against the Legion. Who could have predicted that Garrus didn't like to be controlled and manipulated, and that he, you know, killed Kairos and took control of the Iron Horde? But that was their plan. They wanted the Iron Horde as more additional troops to fight back against the coming Legion. WoW Chronicles or Illidan? For me, I'm currently most excited for the WoW Chronicles. Like Illidan, the preview looks pretty damn good. But the WoW Chronicles is just so much. And Origin lore, baby. Aw, yeah. Melganis in Legion, yes or no? Yes. Does Anduin wear boxers, briefs, or go commando? I'm feeling that he would go in a thong. A leopard striped thong. And dance around all day. What is your favorite quote in Warcraft lore? Now they stand. The lion before the lamb. And they do not fear, they cannot fear. I think that was the quote. Or, behold the terrible power of the Forsaken or something like that. I can't even quote it. That's how much I love those quotes. Like the thing that Putricide or Putre says once they unleash the plague upon those at the Wrath Gates. Where do babies come from? When a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, daddy puts a thingy in his mommy, and then 10 years later there's an something. I don't know, mate. I read lore. Do you think I even have the slightest clue how any of that works? Come on now. I would recommend asking that question for Preach. I think Preach knows the best. Oh no, Ghosty just had a child. Ghosty would know. Ask Ghosty. How powerful is the Valens? Is it the Draenor trailer? It looked like he was going to do something, but he never does. So how strong is he? That thing that we saw in the Draenor trailer, I believe that was the Assault on Karabor. He's pretty damn powerful. And he sacrificed his life essence for, you know, purifying the Naru. So how powerful is Velen? Pretty damn powerful, but not powerful enough to stop the Darkstar. There you go, UDL. You know what's up, mate. Still thinking like a toddler, despite all the Titan knowledge, right? Do you think we'll get to see Euro and Legion? They said that the alternates are gonna stay in alternate Draenor. So if they're gonna stick to that, nope. Where can you buy the WoW Chronicles? I think Amazon should have them. I don't have a link for you right now, mate. Try Google. A lot of people I've talked to really hate the Alliance leaders. What do you think about them? Don't hate them. Why would I hate them? I dislike the fact that they have given the humans such a big spot in the spotlight. But besides that, no, I don't hate them. I actually really like what they did with Moira in Mr. Pandaria. Do you think we'll get an expansion that's focused on old gods? Maybe one day. But focus on old gods, that would be pretty much like someone suggested that halfway through Legion, it will shift its attention from the Burning Legion to the old gods as they break out of their prisons. That would be freaking sweet. But at the same time, future expansion with Ajara, the Naga, and N'Zoth could be a great thing. There's still an unnamed old god. There's still a whole bunch of things that they could do with the old god, so we'll see. And with that, ladies and gentlemen on Twitch and ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, we have been doing this end of the month subscriber Q&A for 1 hour plus. I hope you really enjoyed it, and as always, chat room, thank you so much for all your questions. It was a delight. You made time fly. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you're more than welcome to join me on Twitch, where I stream at least once a week, but I always try to do more, where I play games like Warcraft, but also other games. I like to interact chat room, that's why I'm there, and I like to answer questions. Now, do you have to send me money? Do you have to subscribe in order to ask me questions? Absolutely not. If you have questions and I didn't get to them, send me a PM on Facebook, and I'll get back to you whenever I can. Ladies and gentlemen on YouTube, until next time, guys. See ya!